Oh, beatboxing. All right, fellas, look, jugs, jugging fishing. I got 20 jugs here, new ones. Somebody asked before Christmas, where do you buy jugs? I bought these from US Plastics. I bought 20 of them, and I'm gonna go real simple this year. That's my Catman hook. I'm going to my triple threat swivels. The swivel itself is it's a triple swivel. It really is 3 barrel swivels in one. 60-pound breaking strength, and the snap is 110-pound breaking strength, and we have this Catman hook that's a 4/0 hook, but it's like the same diameter as like an 8/0 hook. Going to just 20-pound test line, only about 5 feet worth of line. I'm a light line fisherman. I mean, these are gallon-sized jugs from US Plastic. The top glued with, what do you call that stuff? Goop. I put some goop on here so it would waterproof, and I put goop around the threads and goop into the cap and twisted it down, let it sit overnight, and then put the line on there. And as far as stowing it, let me show you. Just wrap it around here. In other words, I'm going just a short line jugging this year, because that's what produces. That's what most guys fish around this area. They don't anchor the jugs to the bottom. Although I have an idea for a chum jug that I may explain either here or in a different video. And that's what you do. You put a rubber band around that. Eventually that rubber band will dry rot. But the thing is, that's a nice tight stowed system. And we just put these in a looking at you. Put these in a big giant trash bag. These won't last out in the sun. This plastic dry rots in the sun. So if we just use them and then put them back in the bag at the end of the day, stow them well, and bring them back in the house, they'll be all right. Here's my idea for a chumming jug. You know, I've been using the Aquatic Nutrition Chum Slick stuff. I've been using their bait balls, and I'm trying to think, how do I really want to do that? What if we just took a jug, put a long line on it? I'm talking put like 100 feet worth of just trot line on it. Put a heavy sinker on the bottom, you know, like a railroad tie or something. And maybe 3 feet up from that, either an old sock or an egg, little egg bag or onion bag, and just put that big round ball of Aquatic Nutrition chum right there. And then we just anchor that to the bottom. This will float on top of the water and let me know where that chum is. And instead of, you know how cat fishermen in the summers, they'll pick about 3 spots. First of all, they'll sour chum. They'll sour their chum and they'll throw it out in the river. Let me back up here. I'm getting ahead of myself. They will sour wheat or milo or other various seeds like that. They'll drain the water off. They'll let it rot. They'll fill it up with water and let it rot and gas off, and you'll have chum. And what they do is when they get to the river, and they'll mark different places, they'll select maybe 3 to 5 spots on the river that they want to fish, and they will chum those 3 spots. They'll get to spot A and they'll just chum it. It depends. And maybe they see fish on the sonar, or maybe it's a spot that produced in the past, or maybe it's a creek mouth, or maybe it's a drop off, whatever. Just think about your normal fishing structure, and they will just chum that area, right? Then they'll run down the river to the second spot, chum it, and then they'll run down the river to the third spot, chum it up, go back to the first spot, start fishing it. They'll either anchor, a lot of times they'll anchor up, or they'll spot lock with their trolling motor and then just start fishing it, whether it be jigging it or back off and casting in. That's where these floats that you see me make all the time, that's where these were sort of designed. Although my dad came with the original design, when I saw cat fishermen fishing like that, I said Dad's floats would be perfect for that kind of fishing. And that's why you see me talking about catfish floats. The float doesn't care what it's fishing. I've caught minnows with these. You can catch something small or big. It doesn't, the only thing the float does is tell you what's going on with the line under the water with the fish, right? What I'm thinking is, instead of just chumming it with the sour grain chum, 3 spots or 5 spots, let's rig up 3 to 5 jugs that have this proven Aquatic Nutrition chum that you hear me talking about all the time, in a mesh bag anchored to the bottom exactly on the spots where I want to fish. So we just get 3 of them, 3 of these big boys, long lines, spot a creek mouth that I like, that I want to fish. You know, there's a little bit of a sandbar and then it kind of drops off. Put it right there. Let it be sitting there, chumming up. Go to the second spot, a place where I know where there's a nice little, not so much a back eddy, but it's out of the river current, and put another one. You know, put one or two balls of that chum they have, or maybe their snapper chum that they have, something like that. Put it in there. Or you could make some chum and get a real small mesh bag. You could use the wheat chum. It'll still get scent in the water, is what I'm saying. And then we, once we get the third spot, fourth spot, or fifth spot out, we just go back and fish the first spot with either, we could cast our fly rod in here. I got a rod here we can rig up off the bottom with my drop shot you hear me talking about. And we can use our floats back off in it. So there's 3 ways to fish that one spot, either with a fly rod, with a float, or with the bottom rig on the drop shot. If it works for chum, because even when I chum, I still catch plenty of bluegill. I catch all kinds of things, really, because of the nature of the way I fish. Why can't we sort of take the jug fishing, combine it with the chum fishing, combine it with the drop shot and the fly and all that? You see how I think about things? This is what I do during the winter. I've been shooting some footage for Jugging Season 2. If you just sort of get rid of the form and function and actually try different things, something you learned over here, and try it in a fundamentally different way over here, you could catch a whole lot of fish. When I'm in a experimental frame of mind, I don't fish as much. I just think about ideas, I write down a lot of things, and I start sort of designing some of those things. And eventually, as I test those things out, those are very many of the products that people end up buying on the website, like the floats you saw. That's it. I'll see you next week. Thanks for all the comments on the last video about the YouTube stuff, and got a lot of great comments on the trying to put a guide together or teaching people, because you know there isn't a lot. There's a lot of help YouTube content out there, but you don't see a whole lot for people specific to fishermen, and a little bit more broadly to the outdoorsman, where the content we produce is more difficult to produce because of the geography. If you're doing cooking videos, all you got to do is walk in the kitchen and start cooking. If you're just doing talking head videos, all you gotta do is turn on the camera and start talking. When you're doing fishing videos, you actually have to go to the river and plan a trip, and it becomes a far more elaborate and expensive and difficult thing. I think I'm out of focus. Yeah, I am.